I'm out here with Dave, KZ9V, at Rib Mountain State Park in my hometown of Wausau, Wisconsin. Rib Mountain is a beautiful place to do a Parks on the Air activation because you get these tremendous views of the city down below. But the bad part about Rib Mountain is we're on a giant mound of quartzite, and this place has really terrible ground conductivity. I like doing antenna tests here because if the antenna works on this godforsaken rock, then it's going to work just about everywhere. So that's a little bit of secret about my antenna test. But Dave, he's got a new tool that you've been using for the last few activations that you found really successful in getting your signal out. So Dave, why don't you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, it's the 17-foot vertical. You know, everybody's using that, whether it's with the Wolf River coil or whatever. And then of course we came up with the Magic Carpet about a year ago, and that's been a huge success.
Yeah, because of its speed of deployment.
It's easy to. It takes a very small footprint. Yeah. It's easy to put out. It's pretty easy to carry around. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have any gain. No. And it has some ground losses. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, how bad are the ground losses? We don't really know. So I saw a post on Facebook, a guy promoting his radial, an elevated radial. Okay, of course it has to be tuned if it's elevated, which everybody goes, oh boy, now we're getting complicated. So what I came up with is a linked tuned radial, so that all you have to do is adjust the link, you know, unhook it or hook it up, and you go from 10 to 12 to 15 to 17. It takes like 10 seconds. Yeah. Once it's up. And it's only 17 feet long, so the footprint is not huge.
So your radial's good through 10 through the 20 meter band.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with just adjusting the link. And it sets up fast, and again, the footprint's small, so it's not like it's a big tripping hazard. Yeah. So if you have 17 feet, it's great. Not only does it perform better with some gain, but it actually has a front to back ratio because I'm only using one radial. Yeah. So that's what we want to show you here today. All
right, so Dave, let's get your link-tuned radio system set up, and we'll take a look at how it performs.
On the rock.
On the rock at Rib Mountain State Park.
All right, so what I have here on the picnic table are all the pieces that I need to make this happen. And of course, we've got the 17-foot telescopic whip. And then here's another little secret that I came up with, or a trick. I attached a string to the very top of the whip. And so when I want to change bands, instead of just guessing at what length it is or getting out a tape measure, I have this string and it's marked with knots on it. So when I go from 20 meters down to 17 meters, I just collapse the whip until the appropriate knot is at the very bottom of the whip. But anyway, this is just a chameleon 17-foot whip. And then this is the real toy. This on my winder here is 17 feet of wire, and you can see the little nylon spacers. There's 4 of them, and the link is simply an alligator clip, and that breaks the link, and then you reestablish the link, and that's all there is to do to switch bands. So when I unwind this and stretch it out, it's going to be 17 feet long. Okay, and then to hold the center of the antenna up and to mount the antenna, I use this jaw clamp, and this thing will clamp to anything. You can use a tripod or whatever you want to use, but I saw a trick on Facebook where a guy used a PVC pipe. Okay, it's about 4 feet tall, and this is going to mount vertically with the jaw clamp on it. We'll put the 17-foot whip on, and we'll use 3 little paracords to keep it nice and straight. So we'll show you how we do that. This is a little marker. It's made out of, I think it's a fiberglass marker, so we can put some tension on it, and this is what's going to support the far end of the 17-foot radial. And then we've got some tent stakes that we'll use to keep our pole nice and straight. And then in the coax line going back to the transceiver, I like to put an isolator in there to cancel out any common mode current and make sure that the coax doesn't act as part of the radio, because these guys are carefully tuned, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this up, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is put one of these little tent stakes in the ground, just enough to temporarily hold my PVC pipe up. And so we don't need a hammer or anything for that. Up here on the rock, at least there's a little bit of dirt. So that's good enough to hold it temporarily. And again, those don't have to be driven in, they don't have to be that strong. So on my paracord here, I've actually got a little clip. It's called a cam jam, and I just hook that right on the top of the support pole, and then I can tighten it by just pulling the cord. So I don't have no fancy knots or anything like that. And before I put these on, I'm going to attach the jaw that our antenna is going to actually mount on. And got the cam jam on there. All right, so now we're just going to tighten these guys up until we think we've got the pole pretty straight. If we mess up, our vertical will be somewhat non-vertical, but no real exact science there. All right, we're going to extend this all the way up 17 feet. Of course, if we were using some band other than 20 meters, we would just shorten the vertical. So it's essentially like when we use the magic carpet, but we're not going to use a magic carpet, and it's elevated. You can see it's about 4 feet off the ground. Quite often, if we're using the magic carpet, we mount it down maybe within a foot or so of the ground. But the object here is to eliminate the ground losses, and the difference is enormous. I've actually done testing with this using Whisper, and a couple of days ago I did 10 transmissions over the course of about 45 minutes, comparing the magic carpet with this single radio. And believe it or not, the difference in received signals was 4.6 dB, which is it's pretty enormous. So we're going to get the radial out here, and we're just going to unwind it. 17 feet long. It could be clipped to just about anything on the jaw clamp here. Alright, so you can see where I am here. I'm just as far away from the mast as the antenna is tall. I'm only 17 feet away. In order to eliminate the ground losses, we have to make sure that we stay above ground. So we need something to support it on the far end. So I'm going to use this little fiberglass rod. I just slip a piece of hookup wire over the end. I got a rubber band to keep it from sliding down. So we're just going to stretch this out. I'm going to put a little tension on it. I think I found a rock, Michael.
There's rocks all over.
There is a rock there. All right. Honest to God, I go about 3 inches and I'm in a rock. But I think this will work. It's got a little bit of a sag in it, but we're a good 3 feet off of above the ground. And I see that I've got a little tilt on my vertical, so I want to adjust the paracord a bit. All right, that was pretty easy. All right, so if we got this right, it should be tuned for 20 meters right now. And I'm going to put a little isolation in the coax coming out, and then we'll grab an antenna analyzer and see how this guy looks.
So we put it on the analyzer, and I guess what you would say is the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
You've got this set up for the 20 meter band. Now, Dave, you're a CW guy,
Yep.
so at 14.00 megahertz, it's nailed at a perfect one-to-one SWR.
I know, it's incredible. and honestly, God, you know, with editing or otherwise, we did no adjustments.
Yeah.
He just hooked up the antenna analyzer, and we didn't fine-tune the height of the vertical. We didn't nothing with the radial. And so I'm convinced you could go anywhere and set this thing up for 20 meters without any time-consuming adjustments at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because by elevating the radial, we eliminate ground conductivity at all completely, or I shouldn't say completely, at a high degree, which means we can go into places like here where there's poor conductivity. We can go down into a swamp where there's great conductivity, and we should see similar results.
Yeah. The only thing that would have an impact is large metal objects in close proximity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and if you wanted to use this, you know, say in the phone portion of the band, we can either shorten up the whip. You know, we usually bring that 17-foot whip down about a half a section.
Yep, and that's all you'd have to do.
That should lower the resonant point, or raise the resonant point up in frequency. And if we wanted to use this on different frequencies, with different bands, we just take the links off in the
to whatever appropriate link you want to use,
and then shorten the whip to that band, and we should nail it again.
We'll do that in a minute. What I really want to emphasize here is that by eliminating or nearly eliminating the ground losses, we've actually improved the received signal by 4.6 dB. Now that to me is incredible, and that's in the direction of the radial. So the radial is playing a role in determining the directivity with just one radial. If we added more radials, it gets more complex, and it would take longer to set up. And I haven't experienced or experimented with that, but for Parks on the Air, we're looking for performance and simplicity.
Absolutely.
And to me, this is really simple.
Next to the Magic Carpet, this is probably the second simplest deployment I've seen.
Yep, and it outperforms the carpet. And the front to back ratio, which I was not really expecting. With the whisper test, that front to back is over 6 dB.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
That's crazy.
All right, hey, let's put it on let's see what happens on the 15 meter band. Let's see how easy it is to change bands.
Got it. All right, so we're gonna walk over here, and the mast is set for 17 feet, 20 meters right now. So Michael says we're going to 15 meters, which means we're gonna reduce the height of this guy. And without a tape measure, that could be a little tricky, but we'll get my magic string over here. All right, I have this attached to the top. This knot right here represents the length that we need on 17 meters, but Michael says no go there if we're going to 15. So this is my second knot, so I just reduce the height right there, bingo, done. Okay, we're going to go over and make our tuning adjustment of the radial. So this is the link that we would use for 10 meters, this is 12 meters, this is 15 meters. So I just unhook the alligator clip, I put it back here just to keep it out of the way, and now that radial is perfectly tuned for 21 megahertz.
Dave adjusted the whip and the radial for the 15 meter band, and very quickly was able to get it down to the bottom of the band, because you're the CW guy, and it was 1.1 to 1 at 20.93 megahertz. We could fiddle with the whip a little bit to get it perfect, but with it being down there, it was good. It was less than 1.3 to 1 across the entire 15 meter band. So you got a lot of bandwidth there.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, it is really good, and it's super simple. No adjustment of the tuned radial, just the height of the...
Adjust the whip, and take those links in and out depending on what band you're on. So band changes are super quick. once you got it set up, you really don't even need the analyzer with you. You can just go by the marks you've got predetermined there.
And I'm a believer in the numbers. You know, we can make a lot of QSOs and say, wow, this is a great antenna, this is the best antenna, or whatever. But I believe in whisper. And those tests that I did last week, 10 transmissions with this tuned one single radial to gain 4.6 dB.
There you go.
Was amazing.
There you go. Yep. So, all right. Well, thanks for sharing this with us today, Dave. Yep. It's a great option for using a vertical antenna with an elevated counterpoise that sets up fast and gives you results, which is what we're looking for in portable operations.
Yeah, so. Simplicity and performance.
Yep, absolutely. So thanks for watching. I'm Michael, KB9VBR.
I'm Dave, KZ9V.
You have a great day in 7-3.